What is going on, guys, gals, aliens, and degen freaks? Welcome back to the channel. It's the old saying. Welcome. Let's get the music paused here. All right, welcome back. Welcome to Dano Crypto. On this channel, we show you guys how to make simple, effective, and easy moves in cryptocurrency ecosystems. So we have a lot of bullish news when it comes to banks getting involved in cryptocurrencies. I've been kind of saying this for a long time that I think the banks are going to eventually have that thought process of, well, if we can't beat them, we might as well join them, because if these banks don't start to adopt crypto and have some type of user interface or experience for people to get into these digital aspects and access this capital, well, you got to remember how, like, Robinhood, very good example of how Robinhood set the pace for getting retail into the market, with me being one of them. I'm sure you were one of them too back in the COVID days. And this is, I think, going to be the signal where we're going to talk about MoonPay's breaking announcement with partnering with MasterCard and Visa to have access to stablecoin and payments across thousands and thousands of merchants in the United States, but then also in the UK, in the EU. So this is really huge. So I think this is a really big bullish catalyst that we probably could pay attention to more, because I think a lot of the market share of our mind of what we're focusing on right now is like we're heavy, Bitcoin focused, and kind of seeing where the institutions are going and with the strategic reserves, how the USA is handling things, and kind of the race to own all this Bitcoin. But we got to remember there's a lot of other micro narratives that are pushing towards more crypto adoption. And so we're getting super bullish, guys. We have all these articles and we have some news to pull up, and we'll go into the charts. We'll go into the resistance that we hit on the charts. I think I took my camera out. There we go. There I am. Make sure you're hitting the like button on the way in. Do appreciate it. Make sure you say hi when you come into the live stream. All right, so Bitcoin was ranging, and so was Ethereum. I think what they did is they wanted to liquidate some of the longs and get people trapped and basically do what they always do. They round trip people, anyone that did not take profits or anything, and were not quick enough to get in and out of the markets. Well, they'll chop them up here. People that got long here, they chop them. Then people start thinking that, okay, yeah, they're going to chop the shorts. And then they kind of just wreck them both ways. Both ways, front and back, you get wrecked. And so now the price is starting to push back up. And you can see that we're just testing up into a previous range resistance level of that 1036, where we have that level marked. And then you can see here where this is where we kind of peaked out, was at 104,900. And you can see where we weren't able to test back up high enough over the 104, over the 105,000 resistance. And that could have been a good signal. It's hard to tell sometimes when it ranges, because then you're thinking, could it push back? And maybe if we would have looked at, really analyzed the Bollinger Bands, maybe on a higher time frame on the 4 hour, we could have seen where, when we started to trade under the 20 SMA, we were probably going to have a little bit more of some downward pressure. And it matches up with where we just came from to at least grab liquidity back down at the lows. Kind of gives, traders and the whales that second opportunity. It's kind of like a flush out, basically. They take profits here, and then it just brings it right back down to be able to get other entries. And that looks like that's what happened. So we created if you look at the wicks here, so we'll just go off the wicks, and this is on the OKX chart. We made a higher low. So I guess that's good. Signals that if that was the lowest that we were going to go right here, because this is the 4-hour candle, and the selling pressure is starting to kind of cool off, then we could be going back up. And it looks like that's what's happening. And the levels that we're looking at here to test would be the 103, 104,000 resistance. These two candles, you can kind of see right there. You can see right here. And also the 105,000 resistance right there. So Ethereum, same deal. It's a little bit of a scammy wick here, but creating either way on the 4-hour, or if you go to the daily, higher low. So ETH is eyeing the top of the band here, 2,700 or 2,800. So this is what's happening with Bitcoin and ETH. Let's see what happens through the next couple days, through the rest of the week. We have today, we have tomorrow, and then we got usually the weekend volatility. All right, so a lot of breaking news. Hackers are demanding $20 million in Bitcoin from Coinbase. So this has been going around. So if you didn't know, Coinbase had customer data leaked, and they're threatening to leak the customer data if they don't pay this $20 million Bitcoin ransom. Yo, what's going on? Shout out to Eric Gurdon. Says, tomorrow I am going to Vickerben outside of Rotvik in the region of Dalarna. Is that somewhere in India? I'm guessing that's somewhere in India. Dalarna, that definitely sounds Indian. Well, have a safe trip. We'll have to look that up. But yeah, this is crazy. Okay, so Brian Armstrong says they won't pay the ransom and are offering a $20 million reward for info leading to the attacker's arrest. So let's see what Papa Armstrong has to say about this.
I want to make you aware of a disturbing email that we received recently at Coinbase. It was a ransom note demanding $20 million
Sweden. Oh my gosh, it sounded like it was at
dollar. These attackers not releasing some information they claim to have obtained on our customers.
Oh my gosh.
Now, we like to do things transparently here at Coinbase, and so I'm going to respond publicly to these attackers by saying no. We are not going to pay your ransom. In fact, I have a few next steps in mind that I'm going to share at the end of this video. But for the rest of you watching, wondering...
This feels like a Taken video where he's like, I'm going to explain to you exactly what's going to happen now. I will find you. I have the skills to find you. And I will bring you down. And I will... that's what this feels like, a Taken video.
We did an investigation here. And these attackers have been approaching our overseas customer support agents, looking for a weak link, someone who would accept a bribe in exchange for sharing some customer information with them. Now, our support tools have limited access to customer information. There was no passwords or private keys or funds accessed as part of this. But customer support agents do have access to personal information like name, date of birth, address, etc. And attackers still want access to this information because it allows them to conduct social engineering attacks where they can call our customers impersonating Coinbase.
Yes, we are aware of this, Brian. I'm sure you've been getting complaints that there have been massive scams going around. One of them being that you get the text message or a call saying your withdrawal request was not received, or blah blah blah, or it'll say something like that, and it'll say, or your password request didn't go through, or you need to reset your password. Coinbase is never going to contact you. That's just like the one thing. It's just like they're never contacting you for anything. So just, you might get an email if you're like a part of their mailing list for info or something like that. But even then, I wouldn't even trust. Just don't click on anything. Don't call anything. Don't do anything. That is the best way to not get scammed. So please don't fall for any of those scams, by the way, because they're really trying hard now. They're going to all lengths to try and steal your money.
Base customer support and try to trick them into sending their funds to the attacker. Now, unfortunately, they were able to find a few bad apples. Our systems are designed to mitigate the impact of something like this, so less than 1% of our monthly transacting users had their records accessed, but this is still unacceptable, and I want to tell you what we're doing about it. So first, any customers that were socially engineered as a result of this incident, we're going to reimburse them. There's more details on our website, on our blog post about the reimbursement process. You can read more there. Any customers who have been impacted by this or have been notified at this point. Number two, we're hardening our...
Okay, well that's good to know. Well, at least they are being very quick to say, hey, if you got scammed by this or you fell victim to something like this, then we'll make sure that you can become whole again. Because that is, I'd imagine, it was because we felt the sting from just having the capitulation of the bankruptcies of the exchanges, and if you had stuff in FTX or BlockFi or Voyager, any of these platforms, Celsius, then it was a nightmare, So, but this is cool. So at least they're coming correct with that.
Our systems around customer support to make something like this much more difficult in the future. And third, we're actually relocating some of our customer support operations as a result of this. But the last step is...
And yeah, what's funny is that all of their customer support is really not that great, but then they've been outsourcing their customer support, and which is crazy. I mean, there's probably plenty of people in America that could handle they could have a giant customer support base that's like half AI driven and real people all working all together to be able to solve the problems of either people's accounts being frozen for no reason, or the debit card being malfunctioning or not working at specific stores, or the transactions being backed up, whatever it may be. Whatever problems you're having, they should be able to be solved by American people, because this is an American company, right? So I know they're, obviously international, they have institutional, there's Coinbase, everywhere, but still. Why are they outsourcing the customer support?
This may be the most important.
And Eric is asking, is this why crypto is dumping today? I'm sure it's a definitely a contributing factor. But I think more so a contributing factor is just that we've been pumping for the past, if you look at the weekly candles on ETH, we finally had a 38% move on ETH for a weekly candle. We've had like all of these like red weekly candles on ETH. So we're bound to have a couple green weeks, but it's not going to come without a little bit of some selling pressure. We're going to get some selling pressure getting up to these points, and that's what we did with Bitcoin. Bitcoin ran up as well on the weekly candles. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weekly candles. So definitely going to see some resistance. Now, what's interesting is that if you look at the fib here, the 786, we're kind of we went down below the 786, and now we are trading above it. We just traded right back above it, so that's good. So that's a good sign. Now I'm curious if we just pull a small fib from the high to the low here. We could be trying to test up to that 618 again right here, and if we can push it, then the next levels to break, and then the price that we would be eyeing would be 105,700, kind of right below the 106,000 level. That was probably some resistance here. Yeah, so that resistance right there, all-time high, 109,000. And what's interesting, we got the other 618. It's at 112. That was the price that I've been eyeing as a nice, like, short-term, really nice pump on Bitcoin, getting to 112,000. That's a pretty fair price for Bitcoin. And I think once we get there, then we will be, we'll probably, because ETH is performing really well, and the ETH BTC chart is looking really well too. When you think about the ETH BTC chart, we're finally getting some pumpage on here. We're eyeing this 0.02731 level of that ratio. And as long as that's pumping and ETH is pumping, then there's no reason we can't get to 3,200 or 3,300 ETH. And that from here is still another 30, 28, 30% move to the upside. So it could be that now ETH is finally starting to, like, it'll do 30%, cool off a little bit. So it'll cool off. It cooled off about 7, 8, 9% right now. And then it could, now it's just going to probably do another 30% and push through. And it's flagging right now too. It did a nice flag. You can see here, it looks like it's getting a bounce off the flag. And if that's the case, then we'll just clear right into that area that everyone's eyeing. It's just sometimes you think it can continue, like with 1, 2, 3, 4 hour candles. And if we look at this and then think, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get resistance, we got to remember this next time. So we got to put this in our trading journal, because this kind of actually screwed us up, because we were good. We took profits, we did the thing, but we fell trap and victim to holding the trades too long, and just right when we hit resistance, just take the freaking money, bro. Just take the damn money. It's right there. It is there's no reason to, especially like if it, depending on the leverage amount, there's no reason to try and swing long. Like when you are up at the top of the chart, there's always another day to trade and get in an entry. And so in that, it's just oh my gosh. So yeah, put this in your trading journal as well. Put it in my trading journal. You get 4 hour candles and hit resistance on 2 different candles here and have 2 red candles. It's probably going to go down more. It's most likely going to go down more. So, and that gives you plenty of opportunities, even if you want to short too, to take a quick short, and to also look where it hit resistance and see if there were points in the chart where that's where it hit resistance prior. Yep, right here. 2 things to add into the journal. Another thing to add into the journal. When you see a double top and it's been running, you probably could take profits and sell out of your trade. That's probably a good indication to get out of the trade and wait for the market to cool off and do something. But you probably shouldn't put a buy order right at the damn top, which is right here. Right there. Because look what happened. Then you can see even in the 5 minute where you get the retest and it's not as high. Then you get that downturn. And then at the same time, you can match it with ETH and go, dang, if ETH was doing this, then of course the coins that are connected with ETH are going to react in the same manner. Going to react in the same manner. Just crazy. Just crazy. All right, so let's get into the banks. Where'd that go? Why'd that just disappear? That was weird. Why did it do that? I just had an article up and then oh, there it is. Okay. I was like, what just happened? All right, so this is cool. So MoonPay, your crypto wallet will replace your bank account. Okay, so this is why I'm telling you, banks are coming into the crypto space. They are going to have crypto wallets, and they're going to be custodying people's crypto, and they'll charge a fee for it, and there'll be some type of mechanisms for them to generate fees and yield for themselves by holding and people transferring and onboarding straight from the app of your mobile account, where you can hold Bitcoin, you can hold stable coins. Just wait. It is going to happen, because look, they're not gonna not miss the opportunity, because do you realize like how much MoonPay charges and all these third-party on-rampers and off-rampers charge to do all those transactions? It's like you're paying between 1 to 3%. Between 1 to 3% on these transactions, because trust me, I've paid them, and I'm sure you've probably paid them too. So you think JP Morgan and Bank of America and all these big banks are not going to want to have a piece of that pie? Oh my gosh, they're going to want it. They're going to want it. So let's watch this clip.
Coin payments with MasterCard cards. This is a huge development in the world of stablecoins. Join us right now, first on CNBC from Toronto, is MoonPay's founder and CEO, Ivan Soto-Wright. Good morning to you. Just because some folks may not understand what this all means, break down the technology here. So MasterCard, well, I won't even do it. You do it, Ivan.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me again. It's great to be back on the show. From our perspective, we think stablecoins are a really big deal. It's actually quite personal for me. I'm half Venezuelan, and there are people all around the world that receive money from the United States. This is a new technology layer. Stablecoins are dollars on a blockchain. Anyone with an internet connection, anyone with a phone can receive money in the form of the US dollar at the speed of light, the speed of the internet. And from our perspective, we want to see this embedded everywhere. The next logical step for us was, okay, there's 120 million unique wallet addresses that have stablecoins, 30 million active users. How do we make that possible for them to spend those stablecoins? Logical next step was with MasterCard. They've been a phenomenal partner. We've been working with them over the past couple of years. Shout out to Michael and Sherry, the president over at MasterCard, to bring this to life. But we want to make this more accessible. MoonPay has been about building the backwards compatibility of the existing financial system. So this made a lot of sense.
I want you to sort of project out what the financial future looks like, because I sometimes don't think that the audience and all of us totally understand where this all goes, because it feels to me, once you get to a point where a MasterCard or the Visa network and everybody is in stablecoin land, actually sort of finance actually fundamentally changes.
For sure. I think cryptocurrency wallets are going to be embedded everywhere. It's ultimately a new internet native technology. If you think about the legacy system, we had all these financial systems in different parts of the world that didn't communicate with each other in a shared language. Blockchains are that shared language. Stablecoins sit on top of them. And so we think it's going to be a natural next step that every single financial institution recognizes its importance. And so that was part of the reason last time I came on the show, we acquired Iron, which was a developer platform to bring APIs, bring really simple to easy to use infrastructure for any business to embed stablecoins.
In terms of how, though, this fundamentally disrupts the banks or the traditional financial system, I mean, here you have MasterCard doing this. At some level, is this going to cannibalize any part of their business?
Yeah, I think this is like a natural evolution. So we've seen technology leaps. This is the next technology leap. Everyone's going to recognize that internet native money movement, it just needed to happen. Like, the next generation, my generation, isn't going to put up with days and very costly expenses for moving money around. Traditional remittance providers would charge up to 6% if you wanted to move money from the United States to another country. You can do this at a fraction of a penny with a stablecoin. And so from our perspective, the best technology will ultimately win, and our job is to democratize it.
What about tracking money? So the government has an agency called FinCEN. People don't talk about it that often, but really does try to look for, money movements that might be suspicious or nefarious or things like that. Once you move into this world, how regulated is it? How unregulated is it? And does it need to be policed?
Yeah, well, I'll say I think it's actually far safer on the blockchain. There's incredible companies, Chainalysis, Elliptic, a bunch of these blockchain analytic firms that enable you to track transactions on a blockchain. So I'd argue, there have been a lot of arguments around nefarious activity in crypto. It's actually a relatively small proportion. We're talking under 1%. And the reality is it's much easier to track down illicit activity over a blockchain than it is through the traditional financial system.
How do you feel about meme coins and all of the other sort of coins that are now out there? Is that helpful to you, or is that giving the whole world that you live in a bad name?
I think we need to zoom out for a second. If you think about this industry, we did not have regulatory clarity for some period of time. A lot of assets have been speculative, but I think the next generation that we're going to see within the crypto economy is productive assets ending up on chain. We'll see stocks, we'll see bonds, we'll see all these traditional financial instruments ending up on chain. And so we can think about meme coins as an experiment. It's a toy, but this is going to evolve into something much bigger.
I love that, and I love that they always are interested in the memes, like the guys on TV talking about the traditional financial systems, but then trying to bridge the gap with crypto. They're always interested in about the memes. But I love that he said it's a financial experiment, and that's what Dogecoin was initially, and spurred from these two different experiments that were Lucky Coin and Bell's Coin. And those eventually evolved into Dogecoin, which are all kind of forks and versions of Litecoin and basically Bitcoin. They're proof of work blockchains, so you can mine them. And it's all kind of just like a financial experiment. So it's all leading into now, it's a joke, but then it's actually the concept of it and the memes, which really, all these cryptocurrencies are memes at heart, but with either tech or fundamentals behind it, and some of them being vaporware, some of them being like it's kind of vaporware. It's all the token doesn't really doesn't serve much of a purpose, besides to be a mechanism to flush liquidity in and then in and out, and kind of either dump on unsuspecting optimistic investors that have not been very much informed, but. We're going to see how this all plays out, but this is great because I think all the points that were being made by the CEO of MoonPay is correct, that the banks and every type of financial application is going to have a crypto wallet embedded into it, because that's just how we're going to sign in to stuff. You're signing in with your wallet, because like when you're doing transactions, you're signing a contract. It's just a contract that you're signing that is a hash, and inside the hash is the messaging and every piece of data that is required to then interact with the other side to say, I'm sending this and then I'm getting this back. It's a contract. So one in and out. So and then back through. So this is how I think everything is eventually, will be operating in the video game sector. That's where we can get into the whole separate bull run that is going to be the crypto gaming ecosystems and coins and communities, and something going huge like a potential Pokemon blockchain digital NFT, super collection, something that has to do with maybe like there's going to be Pokemon cards that are going to be fully linked with an NFT, and then the NFT itself could even have as much value as what like a CryptoPunk has value. Oh my gosh, I mean it's gonna get kind of wild when you even just think about that aspect of a potential market niche that we could follow, either invest, and kind of see where it goes. And we've mentioned some stuff. We've mentioned a few different projects on this channel. But yeah, it's super bullish, guys. And make sure if you're feeling bullish that you're hitting the like button. All right. So Eric is asking, which meme will pump the hardest? Well, just by like trading volume alone, Dogecoin, SHIB, Pepe, and Trump, and Bonk, and Fartcoin, Floki, and Whiff, and look, oh my gosh, I mean, like, look at this list right here. I mean, if you think about it, this is a pretty solid list of memes, because all of these do have like high liquidity, pretty high liquidity, and it's just they've been the dominating force here. So let's check it out. So yeah, Dogecoin, SHIB, Pepe. I think my personal opinion out of these particular tokens, I'll pick 3 that I think are gonna like pump really well. I think Brett is gonna do well. It went over $1 billion market cap to $2 billion market cap a few times, and has had more recoveries out of these little mini bear markets that we've had. These little bear portions of the market has recovered really well. So it's still solidifying itself as a good, base traded chain meme. Pudgy Penguins is just across the board dominating when it comes to like IP and branding and getting their stuff everywhere. The NFT collection is one of the top NFT collections, I think, across the board. And Floki ended up becoming something like as almost like a Doge or a SHIB. So I'm almost putting it in the same category now that Floki is going to be in the category with SHIB and Doge being, or just with SHIB, or I'll put it, yeah, we'll just put it all in the categories of the dog coins, because these have been doing really, really well. And we're able to survive like SHIB did. It was building with their blockchain, the Shibarium. And Floki has a whole big community, big partnerships that they try and solidify. They have a video game, so they're kind of like multifaceted. So it's one of those memes that ends up becoming somewhat have utility. And it just pumps really well when Ethereum does well. So the trading volume, pretty good. And then Dog with Hat, I don't know. Dog with Hat, that one, in terms of a Solana meme coin, along with Bonk, it's like Bonk, Dog with Hat, PopCat, and also, of course, the Trump token. These are going to be, I think, still probably some of the top performers in, because you got to imagine where Sol is at right now, and these tokens are trading the way they are. Imagine Sol at $600. When Sol is at $600, I would imagine the Trump token would be breaking its all-time high, or probably getting close back up to it. Okay, so let's see. In January, at the peak of where the price of Bitcoin and everything was recently this year, we were at a $72 Trump coin, and Sol was, let's see where Sol was at. It was like it was almost at $300. It was like $295 or something like that. Yeah. It wicked up to $295, And then it went all the way back down crazy to $95. So we actually had a 67% retracement on Solana. Oh my gosh. And now we have recovered back up another 93%. That doesn't make sense, because if it was going from, yeah. So we've went up. That's weird. Because if I'm going this direction from the wick, it's saying that is 67%. Strange. But yeah, 295. Okay, so 295. Oh, it is. Yeah, it is like that. Yeah, Eric said, been in crypto for 4 to 5 years now. This altcoin season everyone's talked about since I started feels like something unreachable, like a mythical El Dorado. Yeah, the golden, it's the golden city. I know. We all talk about it like it's the golden city, but altcoin seasons do exist. It's just they depend on a few different factors that we've, I guess, discovered now. Being in a few, I would say, like, because I came in January 2021, so I came into kind of like the right in the bull market, and then kind of the tail end of it, and then after that, we all know what happened after that fact. It was, yeah, there was still a lot of. I mean, it was fun, but at the same time, we didn't really know what the landscape was changing so much, and everything was over leveraged, and we kind of got rug pulled by all kinds of stuff. So if you've made it through all of that, congratulations, because it's not easy. A lot of people lost a lot of money and are completely spooked to come back in. That's a fact. And there are some that did survive, and they look like this emoji. If you go in the chat and look at this emoji, you're kind of like the beat up Sonic, Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic 10 Inu. But eventually, when you realize that you should have just bought Bitcoin the whole time, or maybe even Doge and Pepe, you end up becoming Neo, and you can start seeing the Matrix, and then you start to see the Matrix. You're like, wow, I can actually control my environment. I don't have the market controlling me. Doesn't mean you're not going to still make mistakes, because as what I just explained a little bit, this morning here, is that we made some mistakes. But I think eventually we will be like Neo, where it's like that scene where he's fighting Agent Smith, and he's in the hallway, and he goes in the room, just goes woo, 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 and the agents are like, oh no. He's like, dang, he's finally understood his true power. But yeah, smash up the likes. Let's see, we had some other stuff that we wanted to highlight here. Shout out to Chris, Crypto.
Almost 90% of the time, Bitcoin is outperforming altcoins. The smartest thing is just buy Bitcoin and nothing else, because there's just a very short window of opportunity where you can buy altcoins and they will outperform Bitcoin.
a very controversial answer. The altcoiners are going to come out and be like, how dare you? But it's true though. It's true. A lot of the people that came out of the cycles from 2016 and 17, and then they've been through about two and a half cycles now. And it's interesting what they always say. They always say the same thing. They say, I should have bought more Bitcoin. It ended up just completely surprising me. And a lot of the things that I got convinced that were like the next thing or something that is quote to outperform Bitcoin ends up not. And then you're like, and you have this short window of opportunity like he talks about, and like we've talked about too, is that the window of opportunity becomes very shorter. And so it means that if you are over exposed to the market and you're not dialed in on focused on say like 10 coins, you can narrow it down to 10 coins, then there's a lot of downside risk with that. It's just there's a lot of counterparty risk. There's a lot of potentials with hacks, exploits, especially a lot of these coins have staking, all the staking security issues. Always there's some kind of the staking contract got exploited and it got drained, and you are convinced from high yield for getting 10% or 20% or 20 whatever it is APY, you just lost all the crypto in the staking contract. So at what point do you start to shave off the risk? And then that's not even to mention going into the trading aspect of just how you end up starting to think, well, let me start trading and let me start kind of diversifying into that. Yes, that can also work, but if you just have a dialed in strategy of dollar cost averaging over time, that ends up outperforming trying to trade the market. So it's really tricky, guys. It's not like it's going to be this you walk in and you have everything lined up for you, and they're like, here you go, sit here. Everything is lined out. Here you have this and that, and this is how it's going to be. And when you leave, you know exactly how it's going to go. And it's not like that at all, because you're going to have to figure out what your edge is, and you're going to have to follow the trends. Find your edge, follow the trends, and narrow it down to what you know, and try and keep it as simple as possible. And that I think with that mentality, we can outperform ourselves from previous markets, because that's the goal. Is like, can I do better than I did the last market or the last year or the year before? If consistently you're not doing as good, or you didn't have as much as when you started, then there's probably got to go to the drawing board and figure out what is going wrong. And a lot of it has to do with you. It has nothing to do with the market, has nothing to do with what the coin is. It has nothing to do with what you read on crypto Twitter or the other people. It's no one else's fault. It's your fault. It's a harsh reality, but it really is. It's all your fault. If anything is not working, it's no one else's fault but yours. So you have to adjust and figure out where you can do better from the last point. Now, if you like that, then smash up the like button, because the likes have been at a solid 4. Eric said, "Can't wait for this mythical altcoin season to happen, so I can sell my coins and leave crypto for a long time." I will return those someday. It's funny because I've heard that, where there are people that want to sell all their coins and then they'll come back in, but it's like I mean, well, make sure you're selling into stables though. Like you're gonna sell because I think when I think about talking about crypto with people, you explain to them Bitcoin a little bit, and then you start to talk about stable coins and and then you would think they know what a stable coin is, but I mean you can't assume, because every time the question comes, well, what's a stable coin? And I go, oh, well, it's a digital dollar. It's pegged to, it's a digital representation of a dollar that should be pegged 1-to-1 ratio to the US dollar. So you think of it as it's just digital cash. And then I bring up, there's one called USDT, USDC, whatever. And so when people are like selling their crypto, well, are you going to sell it an off ramp onto US cash? But now, because of what we just went into, of all the information that we went over with the stablecoin, deals being made with MoonPay and just the banks being involved and all these different mechanisms that stablecoin that's why they're pushing so hard for stablecoin legislation to get through and make sure it's all good to go. Because guess what? All merchants all across everywhere, it's all going to be stablecoins because it's cheaper. The transactions through what they're going to use is cheaper than the merchant fees that they're having to do with the POS systems all across the board. And so once these businesses realize that, they're going to go, it's going to all click. And then that's when the crypto singularity of like the use case and the mainstream adoption starts to go full force. Like it starts to hit escape velocity, And so I think you need to stay in crypto. Don't like think like, oh, I'm going to make all my money and then get out of crypto, because guess what? Crypto is where everyone is going to be for the next 10, 15, 20 years. The crypto is going to be the settlement layers for everything. So that's why when people say don't sell your Bitcoin, because when you're stacking Bitcoin, you're just stacking the next digital reserve. To be able to then use the Bitcoin, you don't have to sell the Bit. You're not selling the Bitcoin to then give someone dirty fiat money. No, they want that Bitcoin. So you will be able to use your Bitcoin to buy valuable stuff in real life. Excuse me. I'm still getting over being sick. So like I'll feel totally fine and all of a sudden I'll get a tickle in my throat and then I feel like I'm done. But yeah, smash up the like if you feel what I'm saying. Because damn, they're still at 4. They're still at 4 likes. Okay. Let's see what's happening with Bitcoin. Is it going back up? Yeah, I got freaking bamboozled. But like I said, guys, it's no one else's fault but my own, It just means that I, just did not. Eric Durden said, Dano, the whole Carl Moon thing is paused or just going on the channel. Yeah, we just haven't done that in a while. No particular reason. Yeah, I like all those guys. They do good work. I like the show. It was like, I think that was just like a time and season where they were testing out having people on the show. And I was one of those people that was able to do it. So yeah, Bitcoin is now pumping. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I had the honor and privilege to go on Carl's channel, so it was pretty cool. It was just, it was nice enough for him to let me and Mr. M crash his channel for a little bit. That's kind of how I felt. Yeah, we're like we feel so sidelined right now. Oh my gosh, I just don't even. Yeah, now it's Crypto Kid. He's a busy dude. He's now handling the show. Yeah, he's doing a really good job. But yeah, it's probably just easier for them to do that and not have to kind of navigate between having a bunch of different guests or people either co-hosting or. And to be honest, it's tricky. You have to really, and I learned a lot from doing it, I will say, because basically, I mean, there were times where I had a great show. I talked very clearly, concise. I talked not as much and was, very clear, good back and forth, conversations. But then there were some other times where I got so used to doing my own show and doing my live show where I'm the one that's just talking the whole time. So it was hard to split my brain to be like, okay, you're not on your live stream. You're a guest on a show. And I think I kind of went too far sometimes. And when I would watch back and listen back, I would go, oh my gosh, Daniel, like, dude, be quiet. Like, what? Stop talking so much. And also just get to the friggin' point, And so it was a massive learning experience because, I mean, the only way you learn is by doing it. You learn by just kind of like you have to just go in. You're not gonna be 100% perfect, but it helps you kind of dial in, and then yeah. So if anything, if you want me to be honest, the reason why I'm probably not on the show is probably because my ass talked too damn much and I probably interrupted people too much, and it's just, you have to be honest with yourself and just say, hey, that's probably why I didn't go back on the show as many times. Or I think if you think about it, I was actually the person that was on there the most in terms of like a co-host, but I was just running my freaking mouth. I was running my mouth like an idiot. And so, if I was just chill and just be cool, then I probably would have had a little bit more of a chance. But still great, still amazing learning experience. I'm very grateful, and I still, I still talk to everyone. I still communicate with everyone, but in terms of just actually being like involved with like the Moon Group and the Moon Show and stuff like that, it ain't like that. But sometimes you just how you learn. Yeah, it's how you learn. And it was interesting. It was all through like the boring times. We were doing that all through the boring times. Oh, guys, I feel so sidelined right now. I just want to scream. I really do. Guys, I just want to be honest with you right now. I feel so sidelined. I have messed up my trades so bad. I did every single stupid thing you could possibly do with your trades. Just so bad. I had like 3 really nice trades open. I could have kept my Bitcoin trade and my ETH trade open. I closed them to hedge into Pepe at the worst levels possible, and I didn't take profits at the max point where I should have right here. I ended up putting in more money on the trade instead of taking the money out and then waiting for the market to cool off a little bit and then go back in. But no, I went in on the freaking top. Top of the chart. Top of the chart. So stupid. I have really had to like, I think I've done a good job with not being like really, really, really angry with myself, but I do feel really dumb. Like I feel really, really stupid. And it's even, what's even worse is that I told my wife about the Pepe trade, and I was like, oh yeah, if it plays out and then I can keep it protected, it'll if it goes back to all-time highs, it'll like crush. It's just like awesome. That sounds great. You make it happen, all right? And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make it happen. And then she didn't even need to like hear me even speak. She just like saw my face in the morning, and she was like, yeah, it didn't happen. It's like she just like saw it in my eyes. She just knew. I was like, damn it. Oh. But there's still a chance. It's funny. That's why there still is a chance. It's like, it's just, okay, cool. I didn't get it this time. 8%. Oh no. That's why you still can't quit. You keep clicking. You keep clicking because that is what you do. But oh man, I tell you what. If we're in a more bullish chart than the Pepe chart here. I think we are going to break to all-time highs. But yeah, we'll tell you, I do feel massively sidelined. I'll just show you guys, just so you can, I'll just show you. It's so dumb. It really is so dumb. That one, and then where's the other one? Oh yeah, it was this one too. Yep, that one. Let me move myself out of the way. I want you to see it. Like 177, literally just hedged it all in there at the top. Ugh. Yeah, hit 104. It's starting to pick up a little bit. Yeah, it's starting to pick up some steam. Let's see where ticker Bitcoin is. Where is it? We must be going just like right past it. There it is. We might just go. You know what we're going to do right now? You know what? We're doing it. Or I'm just going to do it. Let's just do it. It's like now I'm revenge trading. Now I'm revenge trading. Don't do what I'm doing right now. Don't do what I'm doing right now. Highly unadvised. But we're going to do it anyway. This pump right here. It's probably going to cool off, and then this is when you feel the revenge trading. This is where you feel like you're missing out, the fear of missing out. You're like, wow, I feel super sidelined. Now I'm going to long, and then they bring then they bring it right back down. So we'll still wait. All I got to say is, view market. Oh my gosh. You keep getting me, but I will get you. I will get you. I'm so tired of you getting me. But really, it's me getting me. I'm letting the market get me. Ugh. All right. I think I should stop streaming now because I feel like I'm not in a good, I don't think I'm in a good mindset or an attitude to adequately give you guys a proper stream. So I'm going to peace out, and I'll come back to you in a better mind state and attitude. Please smash up the like button. I hope you're making good decisions. I need to go pray to Jesus or something. That's what I need to do. All right. Peace out, guys.